As a trans college student, yeah, misgendering really is a huge problem because it really sucks when you go to class and your teacher won't even respect your pronouns.
Or you email them beforehand before class even starts, and you're like, hey, my name is going to sound like this on your roster, but my name is actually this, and these are my pronouns. And then you get there, and they're just like, oh, hey, dead name, how you doing? And then in the middle of class, they're like, thanks, ma'am, or like, oh, well, she had a really good point there, and you're just like...
Another challenge I feel like is the fact that I feel like my professors will never really fully accept me or understand me, and then it kind of makes it harder to want to have a relationship with them because, like, I don't know, when your main identity is sort of being ignored by, like, even your classmates sometimes too, it just is like, it just makes you feel like you can't connect with anyone at all, and you're kind of just, like, alone.
Oh man, let me go off here. This has been my whole life for a while. Like, I basically got kicked out of my house because I came out to my parents. And that, like, immediately is, like, cut off from all the money, cut off from all the support. College is entirely my expense now. So then on top of it already being hard being a queer person in school, I don't have any money from family because when you're queer and your family hates you, you lose everything. So then it's like you're just part of that small group or large group of people that are just gonna like drop out because they can't even afford it, you know? It puts a lot of stress on everything.
And like I was always sort of the outcast kid and like no one really like liked me that much and I don't know, stuff like that. And I don't know, it really sucked because I sort of felt like I didn't really belong to any sort of like group. Like girls were always just too mean and I just didn't really relate to them, and boys were just too like rowdy and shit, and like, you know, you're not gonna like be accepted into like a group like that when you're just like a girl to them. So it just yeah, growing up kind of sucks because you just feel like you don't belong anywhere when you're trans, and you don't, even when you don't get it yet, because of like I didn't even know trans men were a thing when I was a kid because I just never saw any representation, so I didn't even know that was a thing that I could like be. Oh yeah.
100%!
Yeah. I think that the way people treat you when you're trans definitely impacts your mental health, because it just, as when you're a kid, that is your developmental stages, and when people aren't, I don't know.
I'll speak for all the like kids with the horrible family lives. Like every day you're being called your dead name, and you're like being told that you're not a boy and that you're not like queer and that you're just like a freak. Or like a girl who's pretending to be a boy, like, oh, my daughter thinks she's a boy. She thinks it's cool to like dress up like one. Like that's gonna like tear you down so bad. And then like at school, it can be the same thing. Like in high school, I had teachers like when I would dress feminine, they'd be like, why don't you just dress like that all the time? You look so much better as a girl. Like teachers saying that in high school, like it's crazy. I think the gender-neutral bathrooms should be in more than just like 2 buildings.
Yeah.
And there should be more than just 2 of them that are really badly taken care of.
Yeah.
By maintenance. I think there should be like at least 2 in every single building, and then like another section with the gendered ones if you really care. But like they should all be just like gender-neutral bathrooms and lots of them, so that there's not cis people going in those bathrooms and hogging it up for the people who need them.
It just sort of feels like a lot of people and like schools and organizations in general put like the most minimal effort towards helping a certain minority, like not even just trans people, but like in this case trans people, and they'll be like, oh, we're doing our part, when it's like you just put in like a few gender neutral bathrooms and say trans students belong here, and like that's your, like that's it, I guess. like and they're like, we're so good, we're so progressive, and it's like
we're still getting misgendered in our classes, and teachers are still using the same excuses as high school. Honestly, just like my close friends, I don't feel like Rainbow Ford is especially safe. I don't feel like GSA is especially, like, I don't know, I guess it's like, it feels temporary and kind of like a way to be like, oh, nothing's wrong here, because look at this queer community. But then it's like, what community? Outside of GSA, none of those people care about me at all.
I'm sure that the safe spaces on school, like, aren't horrible, and like there are some for sure, but I don't know, is it enough? Like, what
And
else
really-
can they do? What else? I don't know.
And really, you're looking for like-minded people, so even if it is a safe space, if they're not like-minded, you're not going to feel welcome there, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same as like stepping into a classroom with a bunch of people who are like, oh, cool, your name is Cole and your pronouns are he, but then like they don't really treat you like a person. They just
Yeah.
are kind of like,
Also, sometimes like cis people in the LGBT community are just like horrible because they like completely like wash over trans people, and a lot of times in those safe spaces like a lot of cis people will be there because they're like, oh, we're still a part of the community, or like a lot of allies will be there because like we're a part of the community too because we're allies, and like shit like that. And then like that often leads you feeling I don't know, I lost my thought. It got sucked out. Wait.
Excluded? Or like,
Yeah, that's true. I really feel like I gotta finish that though, because it was a good statement. A lot of cis people in the LGBT community don't really respect pronouns, I've noticed, or like sometimes even like in my personal experiences, I'll just be passed off as a lesbian by like lesbians, and they'll just be like, oh, well, you're just like a girl, because like, and it's just like, it just hurts so much because it's like these people like are a part of the community that you think are supposed to love and support you, but there's just so many like problematic cis people that just like really don't understand who trans people are, even if they claim to. And I don't know, it really hurts because it's just like you just like feel like you don't really have anyone sometimes.
all of my good friends, because all of my good friends are everything and all of them are trans too. And when you find the good friends, it makes life worth living, because like I rest assured, like I don't really, like when I was younger, I was hella depressed about being trans, and it took a long time to realize that like you're not alone, and there have been trans people forever. Like ancient Egyptians, they had like temples like dedicated to like these gender like non-conforming priests. Like they've had shit like that forever, and we've existed forever, so it's not like we're some new thing that like cis people are trying to snuff out. They've always been trying to snuff us out, and it's just not working anymore.
For me, transitioning has been really helping me like accept myself and like love myself more, which isn't the same for every trans person, because not every trans person actually like really needs to or wants to transition. But I've been on testosterone for almost 5 months now, and it's been really nice to sort of like slowly be like looking at myself in the mirror and like being like, oh, that looks like someone that I can recognize more, and like that looks more like how like what feels comfortable. And like I don't know, I feel like that's a really beautiful thing, is that like we get to go through puberty again, but like, which sucks, but if you think about it as like another way of like blossoming and developing yourself, like maybe it just helps you grow a lot more as a person than any other person really could. And like having trans friends is really great. Yeah, trans people are beautiful, so.
And I think like advice growing up is, like you were saying, like a huge thing, whether you transition or don't. Either way is like, just coming from like even our perspective, I haven't transitioned in any like real like medical way, but I still feel like I've been changing a lot since like high school. Since I came out in 8th grade, like I've totally become a completely different person, and I feel like very solid with who I am at 20. So I feel like if, I don't know, it's really hard being trans, but I think growing up will really make that easier and make it better, because you might eventually get access to like medical transitioning, or maybe you decide you don't want to and you just become like happier with yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just feels like a lot of like trans people will either like die or just not be happy for a really long time, but like you will get to a point where you'll be happy. And it'll be
Don't
worth
die.
it.
please don't die.
Please don't die.
We love you. It gets easier.
Is that good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yay. Much better.
Those are so cool.
I
I would get one of those
know.
tattooed. Those are just so cute.
I would too. Holy fuck, that one.
I'd get that one.